Please rise.
Trust that we are ever mindful of our service to fellow citizens and to our community. Keeping in mind the enduring value of life, applying our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let's continue to strive to make a better world.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty. Thank you. The clerk will call the roll.
Yes. Mayor Elliott.
Here.
Ms. Ketchum.
Here.
Mr. Palmer.
Here.
Mr. Seiler.
Here.
Mr. Sklavanakis. Here. Mr. Thalman.
Here.
And Mr. Thorngate.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Alrighty. Thank you. Is there a motion to accept the minutes as received?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes. Brings me to the mayor's report. Just a couple quick things here. First, I just want to mention that there'll be a resolution on next council meeting's agenda that we're going to be moving the location of the first meeting in August. It's on August 1st from here up to Wilson Lodge. At the time of the meeting will still be 5:30 p.m., but the meeting is going to be relocated up there because the city will be hosting the West Virginia Municipal League Summer Conference up there. So we're going to all be up there anyway. So that was the reason for that. I believe this happened a couple years ago when we hosted as well. But that will be there will be a formal resolution at next council's meeting doing that. But just wanted to give a PSA on that today. Just a few other things. It's hard to believe, but we're down to 24 meetings left with this city council, unless we have any special meetings. It's been quite a ride. For me, this has been 7 years sitting in this position, and it's been quite a ride. It's been a joy working with everybody. We got 1 year to go, and I know we still have a lot of things on our plate, but it is amazing how quickly time flies. In a couple weeks, on July 25th at noon, will be my final State of the City address at Wheeling Island Casino. It's at noon. Attendance is free unless you want to eat, in which case it's $15, and you need to reach out to the city clerk to reserve your ticket for lunch. But you can attend and just watch the event for free if you're not going to eat lunch. Also, it's been announced, but just a reminder, next Wednesday? Whatever it is, July 12th is the ribbon cutting for the new police headquarters at 4 p.m., followed by an open house from 5 to 8 that night. Members of the public will be given tours through the new police department facility, something we're very, very proud of to see it brought to fruition just in the last couple of years. It's been great, and I think people are going to really be impressed, especially those who had hopefully the voluntary opportunity to see the former police department. But either way, it's a huge improvement and something we're very, very proud of. I just want to thank members of the Wheeling Symphony for a wonderful concert last night. The event down at Heritage Port was simply spectacular. The fireworks show was great. I'm not aware of any real incidents we had, so I think it was a good chance to show off that the city still can work, even though the roads are in the current condition that they are. But it's a great sign, for the upcoming, Italian Festival and the TBT tournament in the same week. I think we're going to be able to handle all that traffic with these roads. It may be a little bit of a challenge, but yesterday was a good test case scenario because there were a lot of cars and folks seem to be patient. So with that, I think that concludes my mayor's report and brings us to the clerk's report.
There is nothing.
All righty. That brings us to number 2, unfinished business.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to expend funds in the amount of $66,000 with CT Consultants of Mentor, Ohio for professional engineering services for Wesbanco and Warwood splash pads to be charged to ARPA.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
I do have.
No,
Sorry.
go ahead. I just had a question. What is the grand total for the consultant project plus the next 2 line items? What's that dollar amount for both of these splash pads?
$759 plus 66. Does that sound right?
So we're right under $1 million.
Over 800,000.
Okay, thank you.
I have just a quick question for the city manager. If we approve one, if not both, of the line item 2 and 3, are the funds in line item 1 able to be reorganized? For example, if we did not pass 3 tonight, but we did pass this first line item that we're voting on right now.
Yeah, item number one, each splash pad engineering and then ultimate construction measurement over 32,000 splash pad.
Okay.
So, then, ordinance number, or, well, the source of projects we have now.
Okay.
Board, we absolutely.
Okay. Absolutely. And it could be amended following this meeting. Okay. Thank you so much.
Any further discussion?
Yes, please. I'll just do it for this one, along with the other two. I can't sit here rightfully and understand how we can spend $800,000 on splash pads. We have two located on city pools. We have one in Oglebay. We have one that's located, or going to be located at Wheeling Park. It'll give us 4 splash pads in the city. They're used 3 months out of the year. We're talking about $800,000 worth of funding that, was brought up and in the earlier finance committee meeting, that we have not funded Life Hub, we have not funded other projects, we have not funded any paving, and we don't have any source of revenue to do so. So I strongly urge that we take a time out on these and get our priorities straight and not pass any of these. Thank you.
Any further questions or discussion? All right. The question is on number 1. Please record your votes. Mr. Seiler? All right. A motion is approved by a vote of 5-2.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to expend funds in the amount of $348,500 with Savage Construction Company, Inc. of Wheeling, West Virginia for construction services for West Banco splash pad to be charged to ARPA.
Any discussion? All right. Please record your votes.
There was no motion.
Oh, I thought there was a motion. I'm sorry. Is there a motion to approve? Is there a
A
second?
second.
All right. Any discussion? All right. Please record your votes. All right. Motion is approved by a vote of 6-1.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to expend funds in the amount of $359,622 with Savage Construction Company, Inc. of Wheeling, West Virginia for construction services for Warwood splash pad to be charged to ARPA.
I make a motion to approve the ordinance.
Second.
Any discussion?
I would like to just echo some of the sentiments that Councilman Palmer mentioned. In our previous conversation, we spoke about really being concerned about how we're spreading American Rescue Plan dollars. And as the councilman mentioned, these, while very exciting, I think proposals cannot be widely used throughout the year. And I believe we currently have 2. There are 2 on the table tonight. And I believe the Warwood splash pad is the most expensive at $359,000, if I'm not mistaken. And so that gives me some pause knowing that we have other things at the table. Do we want to invest as much money into these splash pads as we would Center Market, for example, or a mobile stage, for example? Just again, talking about spreading the wealth as we're kind of getting to the end of our American Rescue Plan dollars.
To tag on to that, I'm a fan of these splash pads, and generally speaking, I would support this. But understanding the financial situation we're in right now with our ARPA funds completely depleted, if I've got to make a choice between funding a splash pad or figuring out a way to fund our Life Hub, that's a no-brainer for me. I can't, in good conscience, put a splash pad over supporting our homeless liaison and the efforts that she's doing there. And I understand that's not on the agenda yet, but I would hope that makes it on the agenda. So because of that, if we revisit this next year, I would be more inclined to support this. But because of our current financial situation, I'm going to have to be a no on that.
All right. Any other discussion? All right. Please record your votes. All right. Motion fails by a vote of 3-4.
An ordinance of the Council of the City of Wheeling approving Young Women's Christian Association of Wheeling, West Virginia, Inc., YWCA, request for American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds in an amount not to exceed $250,000 for building and facility construction updates and improvements, authorizing the allocation and transfer of such funds from the city's ARPA allocation to Young Women's Christian Association of Wheeling, West Virginia, Inc., and authorizing the city manager to execute any and all necessary documents, agreements, etc.
Move for adoption of the ordinance.
Any discussion? All right, please record your votes. Motion approved.
That concludes unfinished business.
All right, thank you. Brings us to the items held over. We have the financial report from May of 2023 and the Human Rights Commission minutes from May 10th of 2023. Is there a motion to accept those as received? Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Brings us to remarks from members of council. Mr. Palmer?
Yes, if council would, I send out emails to everyone on the finance, and we're going to have we'll set the finance committee agenda. So if council would please email me what they'd like to see on the agenda, have a cost figure and, how it's funded for the next meeting, whether it's all ARPA funds or however it is done, it would be great to make sure we have everybody's input going forth to the next finance committee. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Norgate? Vice Mayor? Mr. Tyler?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just want to compliment the Wheeling Symphony and the fireworks show and the entire display at the Heritage Court last night. And, big kudos to all the city employees that were paramount in making that happen. It was great. The symphony played wonderfully, and the fireworks started on time. So that was a big win. So great job there. We've talked about this twice so far today, but I just want to throw my support in for this funding for our Life Hub. I can't think of very many more important issues than this. We've thrown our support behind our homeless liaison. We created that position. We've thrown our support behind her. And I think that we certainly don't have the $1 million in our ARPA funds that we originally, was requested. But this is a huge issue in our community, and I've got to hand it to Melissa Adams, who has really just knocked it out of the park. I mean, she's making a difference every day, and her crew of folks. A lot of this work she's doing is coming from funding that's not coming from the city, which is incredible. My biggest fear going into this was going to be a sieve on the city and just drain us. And to her credit, that hasn't happened. I'm not sure that we've given her really any money at this point. Up to this point. So, you should be congratulated for that. Thank you for being a good steward of your finances there and the work you're doing on the Life Hub. I would request, if we can put on the finance committee, a $200,000 number. I think that's more in line with what we may or may not be able to afford, but I think that's more in line. If we can put that on the agenda for the next finance committee, I'd appreciate that. And again, thank you for all the work you're doing, Melissa.
Sketcher?
Yes, just a couple things. I want to let folks know, as the mayor and Vice Mayor Thalman know, the city of Wheeling was ranked 33rd as the most family-friendly city in the nation by Fortune Well magazine this month, which was really exciting. I think I talked to a lot of residents who might not have young kids any longer, whose kids have grown up and left the city, and they often say, I wish we had more things for families to do. I wish we, as a city, put kids first, and I think in a lot of ways we do that. I see folks in this room who do that every single day. We have a premier park system. We've got a symphony. We have a youth symphony orchestra. All of those things were listed in this data, and we were the only, if maybe the only city in West Virginia listed as the most family friendly, which I think is really something exciting and something that we need to celebrate. I wanted to also mention that Mr. Heron and I and the members of the Overta Commission met with some folks and took some photos to announce the new token, not a new token system, but we have new tokens for public transit. If you've ever ridden the bus before with a token, you might remember a metal token. Those were surprisingly expensive. They cost more than the $1.35 to produce than it costs to ride the bus. We've got new tokens, which are nice green plastic ones. There are plenty of organizations that you can get them from if you're interested in riding the bus. I believe also and correct me if I'm wrong, City Manager Herron, folks can go to the Overta website or to our island location for tokens. Great.
As well as numerous nonprofits around the city.
Wonderful. Thank you. And then lastly, I just want to remind folks that on July 11th, which is a Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., I'll be having City Council office hours at Center Market. So feel free to stop by and hang out and ask some questions. Thanks.
Mr. Sklevenakis?
Well, I wanted to talk about the Fortune magazine article, but Rosemary stole my thunder. But anyway, I think it's an important thing that we do talk about. One of the things I think this city council has done over and over again is talked about the quality of life that Wheeling provides its residents. And I think the Fortune magazine article sort of supports that. And I think Rosemary did a good job, so I won't go into that. But I do think it's a really big deal that we were recognized, and I think it's a recognition that I think we should talk about a little bit more. But anyway, good job. I appreciate that. The next thing is about the Life Hub. Prior to us allocating any more finances to the Life Hub, I would really like us to have another sort of meeting with all the stakeholders so we can sort of invite some of the other stakeholders that work with the homeless so that we could talk about exactly what services the Life Hub is going to have. I know that we did that once, but this is sort of a big deal. And I don't think it would hurt anyone if we did it at least one more time. And I would like to invite some of the other nonprofits that deal with the homeless that will and have been working with Melissa to that meeting so we can all have sort of another discussion and get all on the same page prior to allocating any funds. So that's all I have. Thank you. And I hope everyone.
Thank you, sir. That brings us to report of committees. We have the Finance Committee minutes from June 21st, 2023. Is there a motion to accept those as received?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. It brings us to the report of the City Manager, Mr. Herron.
Well, thank you, Mayor. As to follow up on the mayor's comment on the open house for July 12th at the police headquarters, we are very proud to show the community the facility. But because it is a public safety facility and a secure facility, there will be guided tours. We have 6 supervisors that will be assisting with that, and there'll be tours of 10 people per tour for a 3-hour period. So we're looking forward to that. And then, as I mentioned earlier at the Finance Committee meeting, under the budget schedule, the next Finance Committee meeting is when a review of the cash carryover is scheduled by the Finance Committee for recommendations to City Council. We're still putting final numbers together, but it appears as though the cash carryover was $1,360,000 this year, of which $300,000 is a budgeted cash carryover. So, assuming that these numbers hold up, which I have no reason to believe that they won't, at the next Finance Committee meeting, there'll be a discussion on the allocation of $1,060,000 of cash carryover. And that's my report.
Thank you. Any questions for the City Manager?
Will you provide us at that meeting pay raises and ideas that you have? Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Alrighty, thank you. Brings us to, let's see, we have report of other officers. We have nothing. We have petitions for redress or grievance.
There are none.
All right, number 8, petitions of all other kinds.
There are none.
All right, number 9, original propositions.
An ordinance of the Council of the City of Wheeling authorizing a grant agreement with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development in the amount of $1,140,498 for Community Development Block Grant. An ordinance of the Council of the City of Wheeling authorizing a grant agreement with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development in the amount of $385,214 for a 2023 end-year home investment partnership program. Could I have a motion to consolidate readings 3 through 6, please?
I'll make that motion. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
An ordinance to enter into an agreement and expend funds with the following to be charged to CDBG 2023 end-year public services. Seeing Hand Association not to exceed $8,500. Soup Kitchen not to exceed $5,000. Family Services of the Upper Ohio Valley not to exceed $8,500, and Wheeling Health Rate not to exceed $25,000.
All right, is there a motion? The City Manager has requested two readings of item 7. So is there a motion to do 2 readings on item 7? We can have some discussion if that motion is made as to why.
Yes, I will make a motion for a second reading. I'll second.
All right, any discussion? I recognize the city manager to explain if he could.
Yeah, sorry, Mayor. I meant to mention this during my report. We've had issues with, as we all know, had issues with smell at the wastewater treatment plant. This is the first of several devices that will be installed at the wastewater treatment plant, which also includes a replacement of the UV system at the plant, which was put in about 22 years ago. In order to get this device in yet this summer, I would respectfully request 2 readings for item number 7.
Any further discussion or questions?
Yeah, I'm going to do the first reading now.
All right. Yeah, motion has been made and seconded. We had discussion. All in favor for consolidating readings of number 7? All right. I'm sorry for doing 2 reads of item number 7 under original propositions.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right. Motion passes by a vote of 7-0.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to expend funds in the amount of $17,900 with Precision Odor Control of Hinckley, Ohio for the purchase of odor contract vapor cannon to be charged to Water Pollution Control Division. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to expend funds in the amount of $17,900 with Precision Odor Control of Hinckley, Ohio for the purchase of odor contract vapor cannon to be charged to Water Pollution Control Division. Is there a motion to adopt?
Make a motion to adopt. Second.
Any discussion? All right. Please, are we going to record?
Oh, yep.
All right. Please record your votes.
Oh.
Motion approved.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to expend funds in the amount of $16,224 with Desuric Inc. of Canonsburg, PA for Warwood Lift Station plug valve cylinder rebuild to be charged to Water Pollution Control Bond Fund. An ordinance of the Council of the City of Wheeling approving the Vineyard Church of Wheeling, West Virginia request for American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funds in an amount not to exceed $201,071 for playground construction in order to operate a child care facility in downtown Wheeling, authorizing the allocation and transfer of such funds from the city's ARPA allocation to the Vineyard Church of Wheeling, West Virginia, and authorizing the city manager to execute any and all necessary documents, agreements, etc. A resolution of the City of Wheeling approving the use of American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funds for the purpose of reimbursing itself for payroll expenses of public health and safety employees incurred after March 3rd, 2021 through December 31st, 2024.
Any discussion? All right. Please record your votes. Mr. Seiler? Motion approved.
A resolution of the City of Wheeling approving the use of American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funds in the amount of $525,000 for the purpose of purchasing trucks and loaders for the city operations and sanitation department.
I'd move to adopt the ordinance or the resolution.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All righty. Please record your votes.
Okay.
Motion approved.
And that concludes original propositions.